Hello, and welcome back to my podcast. My name is Adele Skinner. I am your host, and today we're going to be learning how to shift from survival mode back into our healthy feminine energy so fast it's going to make your head spin in like the best way possible. So, this episode is really close to my heart because it wasn't something that I pulled out of a book or that I heard on Instagram. This actually came out of very raw, a very real season where I felt like my feminine energy was all over the place. So, for a while, I was slipping in and out of balance with my feminine energy constantly. So, one minute I was in wounded feminine, I was feeling needy, I was feeling insecure, I was feeling overwhelmed, and then I'd swing into masculine, which was controlling, overthinking, trying to manage everything. Then I'd find my healthy feminine and I would feel amazing. And then suddenly I'd be in wounded masculine, which was defensive, hard, reactive. Like I felt like I just couldn't stay steady. I was up and down and back and forth. And honestly, I was driving myself crazy. When I was in my healthy feminine, I felt so good. I felt deeply connected to God. I felt more in tune with my purpose. And I felt soft, but I felt strong. I felt peaceful, but not passive. Like I just felt so good about where I was. But I kept slipping in and out of that place and was really hard to get back into alignment once I was triggered or overwhelmed. So one day I was doing my meditation and I was just thinking and I was just wishing that there was a method that I could use over and over and over again, no matter what the trigger was, that would put me back into my feminine energy and back into alignment with God. I was wishing that there was something that was going to be quick, something that was easy to remember, and obviously effective, right? So I was just sitting there thinking, my gosh, how amazing would it be if I had some kind of a tool that I could use that when I knew that I was being triggered, immediately I could walk through this method or step-by-step process and get myself out of my head and back into feminine energy. So I sit in there thinking about that, and then the thought came to me, maybe there is. And so I started looking at what steps I had taken when I was out of alignment. What steps had I taken to bring myself back into alignment? And then I started testing them and started looking at them. And with every situation that I had in the past, as I was going through, like, what did I do to get back into alignment? I started noticing a pattern. And I know that God was leading me as I was pondering and really wrestling with this idea. So eventually I landed on this 5-step process. And over the last few months, I have been testing it in real life situations. I've tested it when I felt flooded with the invisible mental load, when I was navigating hard relationships, when I felt like I was wronged, when I felt the mom guilt creeping in, when I felt fear, or when there were like tons of what ifs. Like every single time I came up against a trigger, I would use this method. And you guys, it worked every single time. It worked. And sometimes I would use it like in hypothetical situations and those ones worked, but it even works like in the thick of it. When I was super triggered and spinning and spiraling, I was able to use this method, and every single time it got me out of anxiety, back into trust, and back into peace within minutes. It was amazing. It was God sent. I know that it was, because this has changed my life. So I decided to call it the Grace Feminine Energy Blueprint, or GRACE for short. So each letter in the word grace corresponds with a step in the process. G is for grounding, R is for recognize, A is for acceptance, C is for connect with God and self, and E is for embodying the shift. And I chose the word grace very intentionally. We live and move and heal by the grace of God. This method feels and felt like a tender mercy that he shared with me through his grace so that I could stay connected to my feminine energy, even in the middle of complete chaos. So I'm going to walk you through each step. I'm going to explain what it does, and I'm going to give you phrases and visuals that you can actually use in the moment of the chaos, in the moment of the panic, when you're trying to realign yourself. And you can listen now, and then you can come back with a notebook later if you want to journal through it. But I will be teaching on this concept over and over and over again. I feel like this is something that needs to be shared because of the value that it has and the ability, when applied, to free you from survival mode and get you back into alignment with yourself and with God. So, in this episode, I'll be going into detail, but in reality, this method really only takes a few minutes to walk through once you become familiar with it. So, don't get bogged down. Don't get worried or anxious about thinking that it takes a long time. It's designed to be simple and super effective. Okay, so step number one is grounding. Grounding is what brings you out of your spinning mind and back into your body. As women, through our feminine design, we were created to experience this world through our emotions and our bodies. We are feelers. That is our strength. But when we get triggered or overwhelmed, we leave our body and we live in our mind, which is where we have anxiety, where we overthink, and that's where we get into that fight or flight state. So, grounding tells your nervous system, hey, you're safe. You're here. God is with you. So, this is really, really important and super, super simple. This is how you ground yourself. You place both feet firmly on the ground. You can be sitting or standing, but both feet should be connected to the floor. Take a deep breath in through your nose for 4 counts. You hold your breath for 2 counts, and then you exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 counts. And you repeat that 3 times. While you're breathing, repeat in your mind, in this moment, I am safe. God is with me. What you're doing is you're teaching your fight or flight system that it can stand down, all right? It thinks it's protecting you, but really what it's doing is it's hurting you. So if you let your system know, hey, we're fine, you're opening up your body's receptors so that you can actually feel and hear what's going on inside instead of just reacting. And also, you're reconnecting with God, which is the most important step. You're opening yourself up, you're connecting to God so that He can speak to you. This is like your little reset button. I have a heater right now that when it gets too hot, it buzzes super annoyingly, and I have to turn it off and cool it off, and then I can hit the reset button. So that's kind of what it is for us. This is our reset button that we can reset and be like, all right, let's start over. Then step number 2 is R for recognize. So once you're grounded, you're going to move into recognizing what emotions you're feeling and notice where they are in your body. So you just connected to your body. You're not in your head anymore. You're now in your body. So I want you to do like a little bit of a body scan. Where am I holding tightness or tension right now? And a lot of times it's going to be like up in your torso area, either your chest, like your heart area, your belly, your solar plexus, or your womb space, which is down below your belly button. Sometimes it'll be up in your throat, but I notice most of the time it's like my chest, my belly, or my womb space that gets really anxious. So just notice, like, wow, my chest feels really tight, or my stomach is in knots. And then ask yourself, what emotion am I feeling? In the beginning, if you're not familiar with this, you might not actually know what emotion you're feeling. You might think, I don't know what I'm feeling. I just feel blah, right? That's okay. This is where you get to go to Heavenly Father and you get to say, please help me know what I'm feeling. Help me to name this. We're not fixing anything right here. You're not saying I shouldn't feel this or good moms don't feel this. All we're doing is we're gently peeling back the layers and saying, what am I really feeling? Maybe it's I feel hurt, I feel scared, I feel angry. Maybe it's I feel betrayed, I feel invisible. You need to be able to name what it is you're feeling because you can't release something that you are unable or unwilling to name. This step is just about being aware of what you're feeling. You're not judging. Remember, we're not going to judge ourselves for what we're feeling. We just want to know what we're feeling. We need to be able to name it. Once you've named that emotion, you're now ready to move into step 3. Step number 3 is A for acceptance. This is where you are going to allow the emotion to be there without shame, without guilt, and without hate. You cannot hate something better. You can only love something better. So instead of, ugh, I shouldn't feel this way, or what's wrong with me, you're going to choose, it makes sense that I feel this way. You're going to allow it to be there for a moment, okay? You're going to accept that that emotion is there. Why does that matter? Why do we need to accept this emotion? You might have heard the phrase, what we resist persists. When we don't want an emotion like anger, jealousy, bitterness, or shame, a lot of times we're going to fight it because we don't want to be labeled like that, right? Or we don't want to even acknowledge that that's something that we're feeling. So we might tell ourselves, nope, not going to feel that one. We might just kind of shove it down, really try to ignore it or pretend that it's not there. But the thing is that your psyche doesn't understand that you don't want this attention. You don't want this. It doesn't understand that part. It just knows that it's getting a lot of focus, right? So what you focus on is going to stick around, whether it's something you don't want or you do want. That's just kind of how it is. Acceptance, when we accept an emotion, we can say, okay, I'm going to feel anger right now. I don't want to be an angry person, but for a few minutes, I'm going to let myself be angry, right? Maybe something happened that it's like legitimate reason for you to be angry. Like, let yourself just be angry. It's fine. All right. Emotions are just messengers. That's all they are. They're just messengers that something happened that has caused you an emotion. It's not wrong. It's not bad. One thing that I like to tell myself a lot is I feel this right now, but I won't feel this way forever. And that really helps my mind do that acceptance step where it's like, okay, we understand that this situation happened. We're angry. We're going to allow ourselves to be angry. It's okay. Again, like emotions, with them just being messengers, they're like a child tugging on your sleeve for attention. They're not wrong. They just need validated and they just need love. That's all they need. That's all your emotions are trying to do. That's all these feelings are trying to do. So instead of ignoring it and pushing it away and making yourself feel bad for even having a human emotion, heaven forbid, what if you just accept yourself and be like, hey, I'm human. I feel angry. I feel hurt. I feel betrayed. I'm not going to feel this way forever, and I'm not going to act from this, but I'm going to let myself feel it, and I'm going to love myself through this. That is the most kind, gentle thing that you can do for yourself, and it's also the most healing thing that you can do. Another thing that I like to do in this step is I like to ask myself, what part of me is hurting? Because sometimes your reaction might seem too big for what just happened. That's often because it's a younger version of you that was triggered. It was the girl who was shamed or ignored or betrayed. So you ask yourself, what part of me is hurting? What are my emotions trying to tell me? And you might sense that it's a 10-year-old you or a teenage you or a newly married younger version of you. And you can speak to her gently and with love. You can say, I see you. You're allowed to feel this. You're loved. You're safe with me. This part of you just wants to know that you love her. And once you can stop judging yourself and just love the hurt part, it is so easy to let go of those emotions that you don't want to hold around, that you don't want to hold and hang around. Okay. It's so easy once you just accept and love yourself. I heard once that emotions need to be digested. And honestly, I love that image. That has probably been one of the best things that I've ever heard. Not digesting them, it's like stuffing your mouth full of food and then refusing to chew or swallow. So, what if accepting is really just letting your body digest the feeling? Again, we're not going to act from it. We're not going to explode from it. We're not going to do anything with it. We're just going to literally let our body digest it. Our bodies are fantastic, especially we as women. We are beings of feeling. So we need to be able to feel our feelings. And when we can relax into it, when you can just like let your body relax, you force yourself to just relax. You relax your belly, you just relax into it. And it's almost like food being digested through your body. You can almost feel your body just digesting those feelings. And soon, within minutes, your body has done what it needs to do, and it has digested that. You're letting it pass through your system. It's fantastic. Our bodies are so cool. All right, so once you have been able to do that and really let yourself accept that and really let yourself digest it, then you're going to go into step 4, which is C, connect to God and self. Up until this point, you've grounded yourself, you've noticed and named your emotions, and you've allowed those emotions to be there without judgment. So now we're going to start asking, who do I want to be in this moment? This is the step that has grown my self-awareness the most, and I know that it's going to grow yours as well. Again, I'm going to repeat that. Who do I want to be in this moment? You're not just asking what you're feeling, you're asking, who do you want to become? And who does God want me to be? This is a step where you get to decide what you're ready to do next. There's no right or wrong answer here. Be very aware of yourself and what you are ready to do. I truly believe that when we are in self-development and when we're doing inner work, we do exactly what we need to. We're having the exact experience that we need to have in order to become who we need to become. So in this step, there are 2 options. Are you ready to release the emotion, or do you need to hold on to it for a little bit longer? Again, no right or wrong answer. Do what feels best for you. Sometimes you're not going to be ready to release the emotion yet, and that's totally okay. I've had seasons where I felt so much anger and so much bitterness towards people that had hurt me so deeply. And I knew in my head that I needed to forgive them, but my heart was like, no, if I forgive them, that means that what they did was okay. So for me, the anger, even though it didn't feel good, it felt like protection and control. So what I did, instead of forcing myself to let go before I was ready, what I did was I told myself, I know I'm not going to feel this forever. I'm not ready to hand it over yet, but I'm also not going to shame myself for that. Do you see the difference? We can be self-aware, know that we eventually want to let go of an emotion, but we can also love ourselves in the pain. The most important thing I started to do was I started to invite Christ to sit with me in the pain. So because I'm such a visual person, this is what I would do in this step. If I wasn't quite ready to let go of something because it, I don't know, it must have just needed to stay with me just a little bit longer, but I know that there were times when I just wasn't ready. So what I would do is I would picture myself like sitting on a curb, just feeling the weight of these emotions. Like I was just dejected. My shoulders were down. Like I could just almost see myself just sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy. And then I would picture Christ coming and sitting next to me. And he'd put his arms around me and he would just be there in the pain with me. So for a while, that's where I would stay. Just me sitting there with Christ sitting there next to me in the anger, in the sorrow, in the pain. And then when I was finally ready, I could say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to give it to you. And both of those stages were part of my healing. The sitting in the pain with Christ sitting with me and the eventually being able to let him take it, let it go. So if you're at the stage where you're ready for him to take it, you've already felt the pain, you've already processed and digested as much as you need to, and you actually feel like it's safe and you're ready to give it to him, this is what I do. I visualize myself with Christ, and he has his hands outstretched towards you, and he's willing and he's ready to take your burden. So all you have to do is see yourself literally handing over all of that pain and all of that emotion and just telling him, okay, I'm done. I'm done holding this. This is yours now. Take it. Another really good visualization that has helped me in this is I ask myself, what is my job and what is God's job? So I think of a piece of paper with a line down the center and list out what your job is on one side, and then you list out what God's job is on the other side of your paper. And then the key is to let your side of the paper be yours and then you let God's side of the paper be his. So this is what it might look like. Your job might be to love yourself, to accept what you're feeling, to be honest and kind with yourself, and to show up as a responsible, grounded mom or woman. Like, show up as the person that you want to be. Right? And then what is God's job? God's job is going to be everything else. God's job is going to be to carry the pain. His job is going to be to heal your heart. He's going to be the one that provides justice. If justice needs to be done, you're going to hand that over completely to him. His job is to provide an outcome. His job is to protect you and to bring you peace. So just a side note on this, I believe that everything God does is to bring us peace. We get to decide whether or not we're going to opt into his peace plan, but everything he does, everything he offers is an offering of peace. We get to decide whether or not we want to step into that plan. Do we want to be responsible for our job, which is loving ourselves, taking care of ourselves, taking the steps to become a better person, and then let God take care of his? That's peaceful. If we can hand over everything that we can't control to God, that brings so much peace. Or we can try to be in control and we can try to manipulate. We can try to make sure everything goes our way. That's not peaceful. So you get to decide. God's job is to bring you peace if we give it to him. So give him everything that you can't hold. If you can't hold it, if you can't figure it out, or if you can't figure out how it's going to work out, then that's a really good indication that it's his job and not yours. Okay. So now that you've given him what is his and you have taken responsibility for what is yours, now you can ask yourself, who do I want to become in this moment? And who do I want to be on the other side of this conversation, this text, or this trigger? All right, so this is where it gets real. Because maybe the woman you are right now is not aligned with the woman you want to become. So you have to ask yourself, am I willing to do what God is asking me to do? Am I willing to actually become that woman? And this can feel really, really scary. But it's also where the most growth happens. This is where the rubber really hits the road, and you get to really be clear on the faith and trust that you have in God and in his plan for you. Do you trust that everything he is calling you to will bring you peace? Are you willing to let go of control and fear and step into trust and faith? So you get to ask yourself, God, what would my peace-filled self do? What would you have me do? And then you get to listen and commit to doing whatever God asks you to do. That step, that last part, committing to doing whatever God has asked you to do. I made a commitment to myself probably 3 or 4 months ago that when God asks me to do something, I do it. And that has brought me so much peace because I know that he will never ask me to do something that will hurt me in the long run. He will never do something that is he's not never going to ask me to do something that's going to damage me or ruin me, ever. He's always going to ask me to do things that may feel hard, but is going to bring me to peace. So you really get to trust, or ask yourself, do I trust God? Do I trust that we can do this, that I can do this, that he will lead me? Okay, so you get to that last part. You've connected to your body. You're feeling that feeling like this is something that you should do. Now we're ready to step into step 5, which is E, and embody the shift. We're going to now have the chance to embody and act from what God is asking you to do. God speaks in peace, and your feminine energy recognizes that signal. Okay? When you feel peace, that is God talking to you. When you feel the push or the drive or the inspiration, the intuition to do something that brings you peace, trust that that is God speaking to you. Okay, so here's a little bit of a challenge. Here you get to practice staying in your heart and out of your head. Your brain will always try to pull you back into fear and overthinking. Always. That is what our brain does. Our brain loves the pros and cons and the worst case scenarios, right? So your brain is going to say things like, well, what if they think you're selfish? What if this backfires? What if this makes them mad? What if you get walked all over? Like your brain is going to give you worst case scenarios and it's going to have you spinning. Oh, maybe I could do this, or maybe I should do this, or maybe I should do that. See how confusing that is? But your feminine energy connects through the heart. So once you feel that gentle, clear direction from God, you stay there. Stay in that space of peace. Sometimes I have to visualize this. Again, I'm so visual. It's almost like I have to put like a wall up between my brain and my heart, where I have to actively keep my energy down into my heart. Like every now and again, it'll like, I can almost see it or feel it going up to my brain and it starts to spin. And I'm like, oh, sorry, we're not living there today. And I have to pull myself back down into my heart. And I have to visualize that there is a barrier that my energy can't go up to my head. It's like I'm gently blocking myself from popping back into those frantic thoughts. And instead, I'm staying grounded, I'm staying in my body, and I'm staying in my heart where I feel peace. And so you can remind yourself, if that's you, if you do the same thing, just remind yourself that I choose this from peace. I choose this with God. I trust God's direction for me. And then you can act from that place of peace. Maybe that looks like sending a calm text. Maybe it looks like, holding a boundary. Maybe it looks like saying no or not this time. Or maybe it even looks like softening or coming up with another plan instead of really sticking with what you originally thought, coming up with something different that's going to work. So, really just doing what he's prompting you or asking you to do. So this is your opportunity to embody the woman that you decided to be. Not the old version of you that's reacting from fear, but this is the new you, the you that is aligned with God. So I'm going to give you a really quick real life example, and you're going to see how quickly and how easily you can use the grace method as you're moving through something. So we're going to use an example. This is a heated holiday schedule issue with co-parenting. All right, we're going to be doing this type of a situation. We're doing a text exchange. It feels unfair, and there's like lots of pressure around it. Okay, so here's the deal. You get the text, and your heart immediately starts pounding. Your brain, it fires up. There's all those old stories, right? All that fear comes up with that text. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to ground yourself. You're going to pause. You're going to put your feet on the floor. You're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 2, and out for 6. And you're going to do this 3 times, telling yourself each time, in this moment, I am safe. God is with me. And then you're going to move into recognize. I feel cornered. I feel pressured. I feel I'm about to be steamrollered. Okay. And then you're going to notice where you feel the tightness in your body, and you're going to breathe into that space. Okay. You already named your feelings. You're feeling cornered. You're feeling scared. You're feeling stressed. Okay. Go to that tight space and just breathe into it. Let it be there. Next, we're going to move into acceptance. Of course you feel that way. It makes sense that you're scared or that you're frustrated. You've been through a lot, right? This is like the older sister of you comforting that younger part of you, or comforting the nowadays you, right? Hey, you're okay. Like, I understand this. Like, it's totally normal for you to be having these reactions. This is a lot. This is stressful. Just really accept those emotions. Let them be there. You can also do the what we talked about before. You're not always going to feel this way. I promise you're not always going to feel triggered. You're not always going to feel scared. But right now you do, and that's okay. Go ahead and feel it. You're not shaming yourself. You're going to let your body digest that feeling. You're going to let that body, or you're going to let that emotion be there in your body. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to connect. You're going to ask, all right, what's my job here? What's God's job? Right? So maybe your job is going to look like protecting your time with your kids and your kids' stability, making sure that all of that is taken care of. Maybe your job is to speak clearly and kindly, right? Your job is to choose what's actually right for your family. And then what is God's job? God's job is going to be everything else, the things you can't control, right? God's job is going to be their reaction. You don't get to control the reaction. The reaction is going to be what it is, but we're going to go ahead and give that to God. It's too much for us to carry. Another thing that might be God's job is going to be the long-term outcomes. We're going to trust God that this is going to be okay. And then you're going to ask yourself, who do I want to become in this moment? Who do I want to be? Maybe it's going to be, I want to be the woman who holds a boundary. I don't want to be the woman who caves out of fear or explodes out of anger. All right. I want to be able to hold this boundary. So then you can ask God, what would you have me do? Or what would my peace-filled self do here? What would the higher version of myself do? And then you're going to listen. And then that's going to take you to the last step. From that piece, you get to respond. Once you feel that direction come from God, you get to then decide whether or not you're going to act from it. So you might say something like, I understand that you're not available that day. I'm not available on any of the other days. So what if we do this instead? You can offer a firm but fair solution. And those solutions are going to come from God. When solutions come from God, they are always, always the best. Okay? They're always going to work out for you every single time. You don't have to match their energy. They could be angry. They can be upset. You don't also have to be angry, upset. Their emotions are going to be their emotions, and that's fine. And you also don't need to abandon your own needs. Okay? You get to hold your boundary, and you just get to trust that God is walking with you. That God is already, he's already worked out all the details. All the details that you can't even see, he's already worked them out. So in that last step, that embody, is where you get to decide, do I trust him enough to move forward with this? And if the answer is yes, great. So much peace comes from that. I can testify of that. So much peace comes when you choose to walk with God and when you let him hold what's his. All the things that you can't control, that's his to handle. Yours is just, who do you want to become? And then acting from that place. Okay, so let's recap. This is the grace method. We're going to bring it all back together. G is for grounding. In this moment, I am safe. God is with me. Breathe, feel your feet in the ground, come back to your body. R is recognize. Notice where you're feeling it in your body and ask, what am I really feeling? And then you're going to name that emotion without judgment. A is acceptance. You're going to allow the emotion to be there. It's okay that I feel this. I won't feel this way forever. And then ask yourself, what part of me is hurting? And then love yourself through it and let your body digest that feeling instead of resisting it. Then you're going to go to C, which is connecting with God and self. You're going to ask, what is my job in this? What is God's job? Who do I want to become in this moment? And then you get to decide whether or not you're ready to release the emotion now, or if you need and want Christ to sit with you until you are ready to release it. The last step is embody. When you feel the peace, when you feel that answer coming from God, even just the smallest direction that you're giving, act from it. Okay? Trust God and trust yourself. And also stay in your heart. Don't let your brain talk you out of the peaceful direction that God has given you. Trust him. Trust your feminine intuition. That is what it is. Your feminine intuition is leading you. It is guiding you. It is helping you make that choice in connection with God that is going to be best for you. If you use this method regularly, I truly believe that it will change your life. It has changed mine. I have been able to grow leaps and bounds the minute I started using this. I got myself out of so many fight or flight situations, so many triggers and things. And the coolest thing is that once I've gotten out of them, once I've healed out of them, they don't trigger me anymore. Like sometimes similar situations will come up and I'm like, that is so interesting. That totally would have triggered me last week, but now it's not even triggering me. I've healed so much. It will take your feminine side, your intuition, and to God, it's so much, being able to take everything to God, it's so much more easy and so much more natural. It will help you shift out of fight or flight so much more quickly, and it will help you step into the woman that you want to become. I will put all the notes for the show down in the show notes so that you can follow along when you need it, and you can come back and you can follow through each step as often as you need to. So, in upcoming episodes, I'm going to be walking you through real life situations using the GRACE method so you can hear exactly how it plays out. I'm going to be doing some sessions on co parenting, on marriage, friendships, and everyday mom life. So if you've enjoyed this and if you want some more support, I would love to invite you into my private Facebook community. It's called the Confidently Feminine. It's a safe place to practice these tools, to ask questions, and to be surrounded by other women who love God and want to live in their healthy feminine energy. The link is going to be in the show notes, and I cannot wait to see you over there. If this episode helped you and has blessed you in any way, will you please do me a quick favor? Please follow the show, share the episode with another mom or another woman who's stuck in survival mode, and please leave a comment or review so that other women can find this show. Let's learn and let's heal together. I love you. Until next time, I will talk to you later. Bye.